welcome to another of Pop's Stories. I'm Fred Dietz. This is another story that I wrote, so this is part of my special series. And this one's called Last Night I Was Swallowed by a Monster. Last night I was swallowed by a monster. I held onto its tongue. It wiggled and jumped all around. It breathed in and out to move me about. Last night I was swallowed by a monster. I held onto its tongue as it wiggled and jumped about. It breathed in and out to make me let go of the tongue. As the monster wiggled and jumped about, it let out a shout as I tried to get out. Finally, I could not hold on anymore. I fell down its terrible throat. Actually, it seemed like a water slide at the park Mom and Dad took me to last night. Finally, I fell down its terrible throat, a yucky, slimy water slide. Down, 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 I slid all the way to a terrible pit. I jumped up and down and up and down and up and down. Last night, I was swallowed by a monster. I held onto its tongue. It wiggled about and made a loud shout. I slid down its throat and it ran about as I jumped up and down. I looked around its tummy. I could see all kinds of things down there. I saw a plane, red and white, made to land on water. I walked past it. I saw a car. It was bright blue. I walked past it. I saw 4 islands in the distance. It seemed a long way. The car! I jumped into the car. It started right up. As I drove, it must have felt good to the monster, for I heard a purring sound that made the ground kind of rumble. I drove and drove and drove. I seemed to be driving in circles. The terrible monster rolled and rolled and rolled. Suddenly, the terrible monster stood up. Vroom! I went faster and faster as I approached the first island. Thump! I hit a bump, and the car skidded to a stop. Excuse me. The island was flat, with one big mountain. I walked about the island. I could hear a dull sound. It almost sounded like Uncle Roy when he snored after falling asleep from a big meal. I decided to climb up the mountain. As I went, rocks kept falling around me. I found a path to the top of the mountain. Whenever the ground shook, I paused, which was quite often. At last I was at the top. I looked all around, when all of a sudden I heard someone say, "Hello." I was quite startled. "Hello," I finally managed to say back. He looked like someone I had met. You know, you have that feeling but you could not remember where? That was how I felt at that moment. He was very quiet. I asked him how he came to be on top of the mountain. He put his hand to his chin. He thought and thought and thought. Finally, he said, "I remember falling a great distance. I landed on top of the mountain. I've never left it since." I asked him, "Don't you miss home?" Again, he thought and thought and thought. "Yes," he finally said. "Would you like to explore your island?" I asked. He thought and thought and thought. "No," he finally said. "I've never been off the top of this mountain." "How long have you been sitting on top of this mountain?" I asked. He thought and thought and thought. "What day is it?" "Thursday," I responded. He thought and thought and thought. "I've been here since Monday, 3 months ago." "I am going to go exploring," I said as I left him out on top of the mountain. As I walked back down the mountain path, I looked back. He was still sitting on the same spot. I climbed back to the beach. I got back into my car and drove to the next island. The island had very little beach, but it had lots of trees. I could hear sounds. Once more, I left my car and went for an adventure. The terrible monster must have still been asleep, for I could hear the snoring. I found a path. I followed the path to the edge of a river. Suddenly, another boy was standing next to me. "Hi, how are you? Have you been here long?" "I've been here for a long time. I marked each day on the trees. Each tree has a different mark for the day of the week. I have been here," he paused to count to 12. "I've been here for 12 weeks. 12 is a long time to be here. I have stayed right here, counting and counting and counting." Finally, he stopped. It was as if a battery was taken out of the toy, or the toy had been switched off. He did not say another word. I walked back down the path to the blue car. Once more I fixed my sight on another island. Once again I drove. I started to drive in circles. The terrible monster must have been turning over while it slept. Suddenly, the car was in the air. I landed on the beach with a thud. The third island was long and thin. It had a ridge of hills in the center. I drove the blue car up one hill and down another. I did that 5 times. When I reached the top of the last hill, I found a house with another child in the house. He sat in the house reading a book. He would turn a page and start to laugh. He turned another one. He seemed to be caught in the middle of a word. He turned to look at me. The next island is the one you need, he finally said, and went back to reading his book. I drove down the last hill. I was back on the beach. I was back going to another island. This was the last island. The island was long and flat. I got out of the car. I climbed onto the top of the car to get a better look. I looked all around. It was all sand and a hole in the center. The hole was filled with water. I did not see another kid. I did not see trees. I did not see a jungle. I did not see hills. I did not see a mountain. The islands were moving. It was as if a terrible monster was jumping up and down. I fell off the top of the car into the sand. Finally, the island stopped moving. I looked around me. I found the plane was now on my beach. I had one chance. I started the plane. At each island, I found each child where we had last met. We flew past the again moving islands. We flew past the again flying car. We flew past the rocks and the trees. Last night I was swallowed by a monster. I held onto its tongue as it wiggled and jumped about. It breathed in and out to make me let go of the tongue. As the monster wiggled and jumped about, it let out a shout as I tried to get out. Finally, I could not hold on anymore. Finally, I fell down its terrible throat. A yucky, slimy water slide. Down, down, down. I slid all the way to a terrible pit. I saw 4 islands. I went exploring. Suddenly, I was awake. I was under 4 large pillows. As I moved about my bed, I made a discovery. The car and the plane were sticking out from the edge of the bed under the pillows. I had lost them months ago. Tomorrow night, I will go back again until I find. Last night I was swallowed by a monster. Please check out Fred Dietz at Amazon.